Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to go through a Dusting and Flying's game. Just wanted to say one thing. I noticed you play 65 bullet games in a day. It's one thing if you have a lot of fun doing it. If you're doing it to learn opening sort of thing, I don't really recommend it because the thing is, you're not going to get many book positions in a game with such a low rating. So even myself, I'm only going to get like 4 or 6, not even book moves in a game. Sometimes I get really impressive numbers, but they're very far in between. If you really want, it's just mainly put more focus into puzzles and just try and work out all the tactics as well. That's probably the best way. Maybe you can go on chestables or something like that. Anyway, what I've noticed as well, so this is all fine, but sometimes you forget about the position. So when he goes here, this move is not great. The reason is you're forgetting about this bishop coming down. There's an in-between move. So you need to start focusing on in-between moves. So moves that will check with the king. So anything that can target the king, just be very careful about those moves. Just don't open up. And you've just given up like pawn structure here. So that's something I have noticed in a lot of your games is pawn structure. Definitely losing here. So then he falls back. That's fine. You do get a slight advantage here with the double bishops, and you also got what do you call it? A development advantage as well. So that's not too bad as well. But you did pay for it for the central pawn. But just keep an eye out for that because people don't go out of their way generally to upset the pawn structure. Okay, so we just need to focus on where you're going to put your pieces as well. A lot of people actually put their pawn here. You got to think about when you put this bishop here, when you're working on the bishops, it really, you got to focus on where's the best squares. So typically when pawns are like this, it's not an idea to attack this diagonal. It feels weird, but sometimes playing bishop e2 is best because it avoids the pin that's going to happen. You could be saving a move as well. So if you don't know where to put your bishops, think about the pawn structures. Think about the most squares they can actually control. Like he can control these squares quite well. But yeah, he is biting on granite here with the pawns. So that's not that great. And then, yeah, the bishop here, trying to open up. It's okay. The next bit here is what it concerns me as well. Alright, so one thing here. When you're in this position, your bishop's pointing here. What's one thing you don't want to do? You don't want to close your bishop up. The whole reason why you wanted to put your bishop here, or you should have put your bishop here, was to eye it down and control the long diagonals. What your opponent wants to do is try and stop you from controlling long diagonal and block the position. And he actually fell for his trick here. So move the knight up, the queen up. That's fine. But then when you do this, you're locking up the position. And this bishop is now blocked. So this is another example just in one game. A couple of examples where you don't put your bishops if you try to lock up the position. You really need to start focusing on where your pieces are now. Maybe take a little bit more time in your game. This was actually a 3-minute game that I'm looking at too, so you did have a bit more time to look at. But just start focusing on a few of these moves, just to see how you can better your position. And this is closing it down, and you don't want to close the position down. Do you know why you don't want to close your position down? It's because you got a development lead here. So your development's you're going quite well. You got your bishops out, knight out, queen out, and look at black. But now, since he's done this, it's closed, and now it doesn't mean anything now with his position. Like you could have everything in the world, but now he's got a closed position. He can take his time in a closed position. He can take your time. Unfortunately, yeah, it didn't take that much longer, and you resolved here. One last point in this game too. The reason why you put your rooks here too is usually you want to start attacking. So you want to do a future attack. Another problem is when you put your rook here, this rook is now trapped. And I don't believe in any attacks going to happen here anytime soon. You are locked up here, so maybe you are right a little bit here. But just be aware when you put your rook somewhere as well, you're going to start pushing and attacking this way. So when you move your rooks this way, you're going to start pushing this pawn, start moving the bishop out. You're going to change the direction of the game. going to the queen side, which is probably a legitimate reason to do so. So we won't annoy you too much there. So I just wanted to say some of these points. I'm not sure really what that was. You're going for a sacrifice here. What I would want you to do as well, stop sacrificing. Just try and play solid chess. Try and win them off the board. If you, I promise you, if you start playing accurately a little bit more, piece activity, just take a bit more time, you will dominate most games without losing, like having to lose a piece. This only comes, you know, there wasn't really anything here. Queen's defending, knight's defending. Usually when you sacrifice in front of the king, you got to look at the defenders. So, and he's already got pieces around the board, and your pieces aren't really keyed up for this attack as well, so this won't work. So a bit of a checklist when you sacrifice, because I remember last night I went through a game on the stream, so if you guys want to check out the stream yesterday, it's on Twitch as well, so I went through a game with him about sacrificing. But with this one, sacrificing, you do a checklist. Have a look at his position, king safety. If you sacrifice the king, like sacrifice a piece, what happens? Can you follow it up? I can't see any backup because you've got this position locked up. This bishop's not really doing anything at this stage. So when you don't know what to do, try and improve the worst pieces you can do. Okay? You know, you could possibly even move the bishop here, take the pawn. If he takes here, then you can take this knight. Something like that. And then you start opening up the position again. So this is what you're trying to do, is just trying to open up the position. Maybe even the queen here, take, and then maybe even take this. Just different ideas, just to try and open up the position. You could probably even get the bishop on this diagonal. Then you can actually use the dark squares, because if you don't know where your weaknesses are or your opponent's weaknesses, if you have all of this, look at black. The weaknesses are the dark squares, so you could actually move the bishop here eventually as well. Probably move the queen here, knight here as well, and before you know it, you know, even bishop here. But yeah, once you have the knight and the queen, like the queen and the knight here, if the knight's still here, it's defending. But if you can get rid of this knight, then having the knight here and the queen here, you're offering checkmate. So just some things you need to eye out. You just need to look at the bigger plans, especially with your bishops. You get the bishop here, which is great, but you got a closed position, which means that knights are going to benefit. It's a closed position, knights are preferred. Open positions, bishops are preferred. So what you're trying to do now in this situation is just try and open up the position. So it could be as easy as moving the bishop away and then going for f4. And then if he takes, all of a sudden you can take and start pushing the pawn. You're opening up the position. Have a look at this. So he moves here, let's just say for an example, and already you already look at this bishop just for a couple moves. This is a lot better than just sacrificing a piece. So just giving you an idea. And you know, this knight is now hanging. So if he takes here, you could probably still take, but it doesn't really matter now, because if he takes here, you can take back. That's not too bad. Or you could even take the queen and then take the knight. But yeah, anyway, hopefully this video helped. Just thanks, man. Just try to slow up your games as well. Try and keep 3 minutes, 5 minutes, maybe even wrap it for a little bit. Whenever you're struggling as well, try and stick to puzzles. I think puzzles will help you really a lot, like just a lot. And also, yeah, so puzzles and just trying to learn solid play as well. So just learning where the pieces should sit and shouldn't sit. I mean, keep an eye on pawn structure, your pawn structure, and remember these two pawns that are sticking together. So probably not great to get a bishop on this diagonal, which did struggle, meant you struggled before. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.